Good morning, good morning. It's morning when I've recorded this, but it's going to be evening when you watched it. So it's good morning, good evening. Depends on where you are in the world and what you're doing. Anyway, welcome back to another Flight Time video with me, Andy. I hope you're all doing well. And today we're carrying on with our Buzzer Month series with another sexy buzzer. So, I forgot to tell you on the last video what bloody hook I had, but it's the same on this video as it was in the last video. This is a Troutline W633 in a number 10. So what we're going to do, actually just start with some of this. This is the Techstream Microfloss, and it's in red. And as you see, a lot of buzzers, they have like a kind of red kind of rib in them. So we're actually going to use this as an underbody. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start this thread just at the eye. I'll just take it down halfway. I'm actually going to use two flies for this because I've already tied one, but because of one of the processes, it's easier just to tie one first, let it dry, and then I'll carry on with the fly that's dried. So what I'm going to do is just going to wind this thread a little bit further down, and now I've got some stripped quill. What I've done, I actually did this myself because I ran out of the stripped quill you get in the packet, so you buy the stripped quill. So all you need to do is get a peacock feather, like peacock herl, one of these. Just use a rubber and get rid of all the little fibres on there. And then what I do is I moisten it and then leave it for a couple of minutes just to make sure it's nice and supple. So we'll tie this in on the side and then just take your red thread back down. Actually, on the other fly I did do one thing wrong, which I'll rectify on this fly. I didn't taper it at all, so it's like a flat body. You don't have to taper it, the fish don't give a crap, but to me personally I just like to taper them. It just gives me more confidence. It's not necessarily I want it to look the best or whatever, it's more what gives me the most confidence to fish the fly. I'll fish the other fly, but I probably won't have as much confidence as I will fishing this fly. So I've just basically pulled that off now. I'm just going to come down just like 3/4, come back up, go back down like half, come back up, come down 1/4. And then what I'm going to do is going to run down the whole lot just to get a slight bit of extra thickness throughout the whole fly, and take the thread back up. Because the other fly is very thin and I didn't want that, but it's fine. At least I'm doing the video with the proper fly, eh? Now, take your quill and start at the back. Obviously wind it forward. What you want to do is like a very small little bit of red showing through at the very base of the back of the fly. And as you come up the fly, just open the rib section slightly, and that way you get your nice tapered rib effect of your buzzer. Now what I'm going to have to do here is, because there's a slight like a lip there, I'm just going to have to run some thread just in there, just so it doesn't like fall off like a ledge. And there we go, we can tie that off perfectly now. So there's like your nice ribbed red effect with that kind of red hemoglobin kind of effect coming through the fly. Now what I'm going to do is just grab a whip finish tool and just do a couple of turns, whip finish, and then we can trim off our excess. Now I'm actually going to change the thread. I'm going to swap over to that black UTC I used on the last video. And the reason why I'm using UTC is I don't have any Techstream in the thicker thread, so that's just why I'm using the UTC. I'll use what I've got, and this is what I've got. So I'm going to start this black thread now, the UTC 140 denier at the eye. Just come back a few turns, and I'm just going to basically go back to where we stopped our rib, which is there. Then we can come forward. Now we're just going to create that I need like a flat working surface. I need to stop short there, and then the front section will build up exactly the same as the back section. Now it's relatively even. Now we can start our taper. So I'll stop short at the back, come forward, go halfway. I'm just basically creating my head taper here. So that's like your head taper, which I prefer. Now I'm going to work my way forward to the eye, and now I can just do my whip finish going backwards, and that creates that kind of bulbous head. And there we go. Now, so that's essentially the fly tied. Now we just need to do the finishing touches. So this one is a wicked white one. So I'm going to be using some Rimmel Super Gel. This cost a freaking fortune, this thing. The wife bought it by accident, it was expensive, she didn't mean to buy it. So I'm going to get some of this. I just need to make sure it doesn't drip. It dripped on my tracksuit bottoms the other day, so now I've got like a white stain. Oh, sorry, my work trousers. So I've got like a stain on my work trousers now, a white stain. That doesn't look suspect, they're out on my work trousers. So I'm just going to now tap this on the side and then come round. Sorry guys, I need to block the camera here slightly while I dab it on the other side. I need to get a little bit more on there actually, it didn't work. So there's the cheeks on the other side, so I've got cheeks on both sides now. Right, I got asked a question a little while back like about putting these cheeks on. Like obviously, you know, some people put them on after they've done a coat of varnish, or some people have done it. If I'm using resin, I like to put them on first, because what happens is then the white then soaks into the thread and then becomes more, it just stays on them. Sometimes I found like if I do like a coat of resin then put the cheeks on, then a coat of varnish or another coat of resin, I find sometimes the cheeks can come off or wear off if you've caught a few fish, and this way your cheeks don't come off. This is my personal preference, so I am happy with that. I'm all bunged up, just so you know. I don't know why I've just bunged up. I had my vaccine the other week and I'm bunged up because of that. Okay, anyway, what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to let this fly, the cheeks dry on this. I'm actually going to use this fly because I prefer the look of it. I don't want to use the other one because it's crap. So we're actually going to use this one now. I'm just going to turn the video off and I'll come back once these cheeks are dry, and then we can carry on with the next step. So we are back. Obviously I've been sat here for a few minutes, so you guys have been sat here there for like no seconds whatsoever, maybe half a millisecond. But anyway, the cheeks hopefully should be dry now, fingers crossed. Yeah, they seem dry. So let's get on with the next steppy step of the video. I don't know what accent that was, by the way. Sorry, I apologise if I offended anyone. Anyway, let's crack on. So we're going to be using some Gulf Thin Man on this to finish it, and we're going to start at the back and I'm just actually going to use the bottle just to kind of make sure I'm getting an even layer on there. The problem is I must get a proper true rotatory vise, because look at that. It'd be so much better if I was on a video and it was like turning on the spot. I'm sure, alright, I'll try my best this year to get it sorted. I just obviously need to get some spare cashola and then I'll be good. But the problem was I've bought myself a new car, and obviously I've spent most of my cash sorting that out. But anyway, enough of that. And then we'll just, alright, so just basically working your, try not to push hard on the cheeks with the bottle, just basically kind of going over it. Need to be nice and gentle around the cheeks. So just working the UV resin around the fly. So that's looking great. You know, it really does look like an effective buzzer for any still water. So I'm just going to turn the vise now. I'm going to grab my new torch, the Gulf Hero torch, and we're just going to set this resin. This new Hero torch is awesome, by the way. It's like USB rechargeable and super powerful. It cures this super quick. I really like it. I've only been using it for a couple of weeks, but I really like it. So I'm just basically turning my vise now and setting this. Yeah, it's nicely set. Now last but not least, as I always do on all of my buzzers, is grab a little bit of varnish, whatever brand you want to use. I'm just brushing over just to cover any micro holes or micro gaps or anything I've got in the fly, just so it lasts nice and long. Because the worst thing is when you've got a fly and it only lasts 5 or 6 fish. So there you have it. There is your nice Quill buzzer with the red underbody. You know, give this one a go. It really works well. You're going to catch plenty of fish, I'm sure, on places where you get the big buzzers especially. As I said, if you don't get big buzzers, just tie it on a size 12 or tie it on a size 14. You can tie this on a grub hook if you want to use a grub hook. You know, the world's your oyster when it comes to these buzzers. Just tie them exactly how you want, on the hook you want and the size you want. But perhaps try these iterations and fingers crossed you'll catch some fish. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Give it a like if you like the video. And then also subscribe to my channel if you feel like watching more. And I will see you on the next one.